The 2025 Suzuki Hayabusa is here, and it's still the beast we all know, but with a few smart upgrades that make it even more appealing to speed lovers and long-distance riders alike. If you've been following the legacy of the Hayabusa, you already know it's one of the most iconic sport touring motorcycles ever built. First introduced back in 1999, the Hayabusa redefined the meaning of speed and power. Now, 25 years later, the 2025 model continues that tradition while adapting to modern expectations and regulations. Let's talk performance first, because that's what most riders care about when it comes to the Hayabusa. The 2025 model keeps the legendary 1340cc inline-4 engine. No, it's not turbocharged. And no, Suzuki didn't try to break the 200 miles per hour mark again, but that's kind of the point. The engine delivers around 188 horsepower and 111 pounds-feet of torque, which is more than enough to get your heart racing. What's changed, though, is how that power is delivered. Thanks to ride-by-wire throttle and updated electronics, the 2025 Hayabusa is smoother, more responsive, and easier to control whether you're blasting down a straight highway or carving through mountain roads. Suzuki has put a lot of work into the electronics package on this new model. You get a 6-axis EMU, which is now standard, and that enables a full suite of rider aids. We're talking lean-sensitive ABS, traction control with multiple modes, wheelie control, launch control, and even engine braking control. These features were refined from the last generation, but now they feel more integrated and natural, especially for everyday riding. And yes, the bidirectional quick shifter is still here. It's smooth and reliable, making both upshifts and downshifts a joy. One of the most noticeable changes this year is the new TFT display in the center of the instrument cluster. Suzuki hasn't gone fully digital like some other brands. They've kept the analog speedometer and tachometer, which is a nice nod to tradition. But the TFT adds useful info like ride modes, settings, trip data, and even a lean angle readout. It's intuitive, bright, and easy to read, even in direct sunlight. Styling-wise, the 2025 Hayabusa keeps that distinctive aerodynamic silhouette that fans love. It's sleek, aggressive, and unmistakably a Hayabusa. Suzuki made small refinements to the bodywork, improving airflow and stability at high speeds without radically changing the look. The bike now comes in some bold new color options, including a striking black and orange scheme and a clean matte silver that really stands out. Subtle changes to the LED lighting and sharper edges on the body panels give it a more modern feel while retaining its legacy. Riders who plan to use the Hayabusa for more than just drag races will be happy with the comfort upgrades. The seat is slightly recontoured for better support during long rides, and the handlebars are positioned just right low enough for aggressive riding, but high enough that your wrists won't scream after an hour. There's also improved wind protection from the redesigned fairing and windscreen, which does a solid job of cutting through the air without adding too much bulk. The suspension remains fully adjustable, with kib front forks and a monoshock rear setup. Suzuki hasn't gone with semi-active suspension here, possibly to keep costs down, but the balance between comfort and performance is excellent. It handles corners with confidence and stays stable at very high speeds. The Brembo Stylema front calipers are another highlight, offering strong, predictable braking power that inspires confidence. Weight-wise, the 2025 Hayabusa comes in around 582 pounds wet, which is heavy compared to a typical superbike, but remember, this isn't meant to be a track-focused machine. It's a high-speed, long-distance weapon, and in that category, it feels surprisingly agile. The chassis is well-tuned, and once you're moving, the weight disappears. It's planted, steady, and gives you that big bike confidence you want when riding fast. Fuel economy is about what you'd expect, somewhere around 35 miles per gallon, depending on how aggressively you ride. With the 5.3-gallon tank, you can easily stretch over 180 miles between fill-ups, which is great for weekend road trips or commuting if you're feeling bold. Now, Let's talk pricing. The 2025 Hayabusa is priced at around $19,000. That might sound steep, but when you consider the performance, tech, and build quality, it's actually a pretty solid value. You're getting one of the most refined hyperbikes ever made, with a reputation that spans over 2 decades. Not to mention, there's something special about owning a bike that can comfortably cruise at 80 miles per hour all day and still have another 100 miles per hour in reserve if you need it. Of course, some fans were hoping for a turbocharged version or a hybrid system, especially since Suzuki's concept bikes over the past few years hinted at some wild ideas. But in reality, Suzuki seems to be sticking to what works. The focus is clearly on reliability, real-world performance, and refinement. And honestly, that's probably a smart move. The Hayabusa is already a niche product, and trying to push it too far into untested territory might alienate the core audience that loves this machine for what it is. If you're someone who wants a bike that's brutally fast, surprisingly comfortable, loaded with tech, and built like a tank, the 2025 Hayabusa should absolutely be on your radar. It's not the lightest, it's not the cheapest, and it's definitely not the most beginner-friendly bike out there, but it is one of the most iconic motorcycles of our time, and the new updates only make it better. Whether you're upgrading from a previous generation or just dreaming about your first Hayabusa, the 2025 model delivers on all fronts. It's still the ultimate sport touring hyperbike, still an attention magnet wherever it goes, and still a symbol of speed that's as relevant today as it was in the early 2000s. And maybe that's the real magic of the Hayabusa. It doesn't try to be everything for everyone. It knows exactly what it is: a powerful, fast, and unapologetically bold machine built for riders who crave the thrill. So, if you're ready to dominate the streets with one of the most legendary names in motorcycling history, the 2025 Suzuki Hayabusa is waiting. And this time, it's sharper, smarter, and still just as insane.